I was sitting in my rocking chair, knitting a scarf for my grandson when my phone buzzed. It was a message from my son, Tommy. "Mom, sorry but you can't join us on the cruise anymore. Jennifer says it's just for our immediate family." I read those words over and over. My hands stopped moving. The yarn fell to the floor. But before I tell you what happened next, please hit that subscribe button for Granny's voice and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love hearing from all of you wonderful people. Now let me continue my story. That morning started so differently. I woke up excited because in 3 days, we were supposed to go on a big boat trip together. I had bought new clothes from the thrift store. A blue dress with flowers. A yellow hat to protect me from the sun. I even got special shoes that wouldn't slip on the boat. I was so happy because Tommy promised this would be our family adventure. He said his kids, my sweet grandchildren, wanted Grandma to come. I made cookies for the trip. Chocolate chip ones because those are little Emma's favorite. I wrapped them in pretty paper with ribbons. Everything was ready. My small suitcase sat by the door, packed and waiting. Then came that message. Just words on a screen, but they felt like tiny knives. "It's just for our immediate family." I wanted to ask him, "Tommy, am I not family? Did I stop being your mother?" But I didn't write back. Instead, I sat very still. I remembered when Tommy was little and fell off his bicycle. I ran so fast to help him. I remembered working 2 jobs when his father left us. I cleaned offices at night and worked at the grocery store during the day so Tommy could have good food and warm clothes. I remembered sitting up with him when he was sick, singing soft songs until he fell asleep. Was I family then? Yes, I was. But now I was just someone they could push aside. I walked to my bedroom and opened my special drawer. Inside was a folder with important papers. One paper was very important. It showed that the house where Tommy lived belonged to me. You see, 5 years ago when Tommy married Jennifer, they needed a place to live. They didn't have much money, so I bought them a house. A beautiful house with a red door and a garden. I used all my savings. Every penny I had saved for my old age went into that house. Tommy said, "Mom, thank you so much. We'll pay you back someday." But someday never came. The house was still in my name because Tommy said, "We'll change the papers later, Mom. Don't worry about it." Now I understood why the papers were never changed. It was easier for them this way. They lived in my house without paying me. They used my help whenever they needed it. But include me in their family cruise? No, that was too much to ask. I picked up the phone and called Mr. Roberts. He's a lawyer who lives down my street. "Mr. Roberts," I said, "I need to talk about the house I bought for my son. Can I sell it?" Mr. Roberts was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Mrs. Peterson, if the house is in your name, you can do whatever you want with it. It's your property. How fast can we sell it?" Yes. My voice sounded strange, even to me. "If we find the right buyer, maybe 2 weeks," he answered. That night I didn't sleep much. I kept thinking about everything. About all the times Jennifer made excuses when I wanted to visit. "It's not a good time, Mom. The house is messy. The kids have homework." About all the birthday parties where I was invited last minute, almost like they forgot about me. About last Christmas when they gave me a gift card to a store instead of something from their hearts. About the times I babysat Emma and Jack for whole weekends, but when I asked them to help me move some furniture, they were always too busy. I wasn't being mean by thinking these thoughts. I was finally seeing the truth. To them I was useful, like a tool they could pick up when needed and put away when done. The next morning I called my friend Susan. She sells houses for people. "Susan, I need your help," I said. "I want to sell Tommy's house quickly." Susan knew something was wrong because my voice was shaking. "Oh honey, what happened?" she asked. "I'll explain later. Right now, I just need to sell that house fast." Susan is a good friend. She didn't ask more questions. "Let me make some calls," she said. "I know a couple looking for a house in that neighborhood." 3 hours later, Susan called back. "I have buyers. They want to see the house tomorrow. They have cash ready." Cash meant quick. Cash meant no waiting. Cash meant freedom. Set it up, I told her. I have a key. I drove to Tommy's house the next day. My hands were shaking as I unlocked the red door. Inside, everything looked perfect. Clean floors, nice furniture, photos on the walls. But as I looked closer, I noticed something strange. In all the recent photos, I wasn't there. There were pictures of Tommy, Jennifer, and the kids at the beach, the park, at restaurants, birthday parties, holiday dinners. But where was I? I found old photos of me in a box in the closet, hidden away, like I was something from the past they wanted to forget. In the kitchen, the apron I made for Jennifer was stuffed in the back of a drawer. The cookbook I gave them still had the price tag on it. They never even opened it. Every room showed me the same truth. I was being erased from their life, little by little. In Tommy's office, I found something that made my heart hurt even more. It was a letter from a lawyer. The letter was dated 3 months ago. It talked about transferring the house from my name to Tommy's name. They were planning to take the house from me. Not ask me. Not discuss it with me. Just take it. The letter said they would present the papers to me after they finished paying some debts. But I had already paid off the entire house last month. I used money from my retirement account. Money I was saving for my future. And they knew it. They were just waiting for the right moment to ask me to sign the house over to them. Or maybe they weren't even going to ask. Maybe they were just going to pressure me into it. The young couple who wanted to buy the house arrived an hour later. Their names were Mike and Rachel. They were teachers. They had a baby on the way. When they walked through the house, their eyes lit up. "This is perfect," Rachel said, touching her growing belly. "Our baby will love the backyard." Mike nodded. "We've been looking for months. This is exactly what we need." They made an offer right there. They offered more money than the house was worth because they loved it so much. "We can pay cash in 1 week," Mike said. "We want to move in as soon as possible." I looked at Susan. She nodded. "This is a very good offer, Margaret." "I'll take it," I said. Just like that, I sold the house where my son lived. Mr. Roberts handled all the legal work. He made sure everything was done correctly. "Are you absolutely sure about this?" he asked me 3 times. "Yes," I answered each time. "I've never been more sure about anything." The papers were signed. The money went into my bank account. Mike and Rachel would get the keys in 10 days. That was 1 day before Tommy's cruise ended. Perfect timing. But I didn't want to just disappear without explanation. That would be too easy for them. So I sat down and wrote a letter. Not a long one. Just enough to make them understand. "Tommy and Jennifer, the house you've been living in has been sold. It was always mine, as you knew. I paid for every bit of it with my retirement money. When you told me I wasn't family enough for your cruise, I finally understood my place in your life. I was convenient. Nothing more." I continued writing. "Your belongings are in a storage building on Oak Street. Paid for 3 months. After that, you'll need to pay for it yourself. The key is with Mr. Roberts. His phone number is at the bottom of this letter. Don't try to find me. I'm going away to live my own life now. Just like you wanted to have your cruise without me, I want to have my life without being treated like I don't matter. Maybe someday you'll understand what you did. Maybe you won't. Either way, I need to take care of myself now. Goodbye, Mom." I put the letter in an envelope. I left it on their kitchen table where they would see it first thing when they came home. The next few days were busy. I hired movers to pack all of Tommy's things and take them to storage. I paid them extra to work fast. Every box, every piece of furniture, every toy and book went into that storage building. Kept nothing. When the house was empty, I went there one last time. I walked through the empty rooms. My footsteps echoed. The walls were bare. The floors were swept clean. This house had represented my love for my son. But love shouldn't hurt this much. Love shouldn't make you feel small and unimportant. As I stood in the empty living room, I did something I hadn't done in years. I closed my eyes and imagined myself dancing. Not here. Somewhere far away. Somewhere new. Somewhere I mattered. That night I called my sister Betty. She lives in Seattle, far from here. Betty, I said, remember how we always talked about taking a trip together? Of course, Betty said. We've been saying that for 20 years. Well, how about next month? I'm buying us tickets to Alaska. We're going to see the glaciers and whales. Betty gasped. Margaret, are you serious? What about Tommy and the kids? They're on their cruise without me, I said. So now I'm going on my adventure without them. Betty was quiet. Then she laughed. Not a mean laugh. Happy, surprised laugh. It's about time you did something for yourself, she said. I'm so proud of you. Smiled. For the first time in days, I felt something warm in my chest. Hope maybe. Or freedom. I handed the keys to Mike and Rachel 2 days before Tommy came back. They were so excited. Rachel hugged me. Thank you for selling us this house, she said. We promised to fill it with love and happiness. That's all any house needs, I told her. As I drove away, I looked in my rearview mirror. Mike and Rachel were standing in the doorway, holding hands, looking at their new home. The house would have a new story now. A better story, I hoped. When I got back to my apartment, I packed my own suitcase. I was leaving tomorrow for Betty's house. From there, we would start our Alaska trip. I turned off my phone. Whatever happened when Tommy got home, I didn't want to know about it right away. I needed this time for me. The morning I left for Seattle, I felt lighter than I had in years. Like I had been carrying heavy rocks in my pockets and finally emptied them out. At the airport, I bought a magazine and a coffee. Fancy coffee with foam and cinnamon. I never bought fancy things for myself before. It always seemed wasteful. But now I was going to enjoy little treats. I deserved them. On the airplane, I sat by the window. As we flew above the clouds, I thought about my life. I was 68 years old. For so many years, I lived only for Tommy. I worked hard so he could have a good life. I sacrificed my dreams so he could chase his. But where did that get me? A text message saying I wasn't family enough. Betty picked me up from the Seattle airport with a big smile. Look at you, she said, hugging me tight. You look different already. Younger somehow. We drove to her cozy house near the water. That evening, we sat on her porch watching the sunset. The sky turned pink and orange. Birds flew overhead. Do you feel guilty? Betty asked gently. Thought about it. A little, I admitted. But mostly I feel free. Is that wrong? Betty shook her head. No, honey. That's exactly right. You gave Tommy everything for his whole life. It's okay to finally choose yourself. That night I slept deeply. No bad dreams. No waking up worried. Just peaceful sleep in Betty's guest room with its soft blue walls and warm quilts. 3 days into my Alaska trip, Tommy started trying to call me. My phone was still off. I had left it that way on purpose. Betty's phone rang instead. It's Tommy, she said, looking at her screen. Do you want me to answer? No, I said. Not yet. Let him wonder. Let him worry. Let him feel what it's like when someone important disappears without explanation. We were on a boat at that moment, watching whales jump out of the water. They were so big and beautiful. Free in the huge ocean. Felt like those whales. Finally free after being trapped for so long. The other people on the boat were taking pictures and laughing. Betty and I held hands and just watched in silence. This moment was perfect. I didn't need photos to remember it. I just needed to feel it. On the 5th day of the cruise, I finally turned on my phone. 43 missed calls from Tommy. 37 text messages. 15 voicemails. I didn't read or listen to any of them. Not yet. But I did send one text message. Tommy. It said simply, I'm fine. Don't look for me. I need time alone. I'll contact you when I'm ready. Then I turned the phone off again. Betty saw my face. How do you feel? She asked. Strong, I said. And I meant it. The next week was magical. Betty and I saw bears catching fish in rivers. We walked through forests so old and tall they seemed to touch the sky. We ate fresh salmon and laughed until our stomachs hurt. We stayed up late talking about our childhood, our dreams, our regrets. Betty told me about her life choices, and I told her about mine. One night, Betty said something that stuck with me. "Margaret, you know what your problem was. You confused love with servitude. You thought being a good mother meant erasing yourself completely. But that's not love. That's just disappearing." Her words made me cry. Not sad tears. Understanding tears. She was right. I had made myself smaller and smaller, trying to fit into whatever space Tommy and Jennifer left for me. But people aren't supposed to shrink themselves. We're supposed to grow and bloom and take up space in the world. "I'm not going to be small anymore," I told Betty. "Good," she said, squeezing my hand. "Because you're way too fabulous to be small." When I finally came back to my apartment after 3 weeks away, I found letters slipped under my door. All from Tommy. I made tea and sat down to read them. The first few were angry. "How could you do this to us?" one said. "We're living in a cramped apartment now. The kids are confused. Jennifer is crying every day." Later letters were different. More thoughtful. "Mom, I'm starting to understand," one said. "I talked to a counselor. She helped me see how we treated you. Sorry. I'm really, truly sorry." The last letter was shortest. "I love you. Please come back so we can talk. I want to make this right." I folded the letters and put them away. I wasn't ready yet. Instead, I did something surprising. I enrolled in a painting class at the community center. I had always wanted to paint, but there was never time. Always something more important to do. Cook for Tommy. Babysit the grandkids. Clean someone else's house. But now I had time. The class was on Tuesday and Thursday mornings. Our teacher, Mrs. Chen, was a tiny woman with paint-stained fingers and a huge smile. "Art is not about being perfect," she told us on the first day. "Art is about expressing what's in your heart." I painted my first picture that day. It wasn't very good. The colors ran together. The shapes were wobbly. But it was mine. Created it. And that felt wonderful. After a month, I finally agreed to meet Tommy. Just him, not Jennifer. We met at a coffee shop halfway between our homes. When he walked in, I almost didn't recognize him. He looked thinner, tired, older somehow. "Hi, Mom," he said quietly, sitting down across from me. "Hello, Tommy." We were both nervous. The waitress brought us coffee. Tommy wrapped his hands around his cup like he was cold. "I don't know where to start," he said. "Start with the truth," I told him. "Why did you exclude me from that cruise?" Tommy looked down. "Jennifer thought it would be easier without you there. She said you always make everything about yourself." "Do I?" asked. Tommy shook his head. "No. That was unfair of her to say. And unfair of me to believe it." Tommy took a deep breath. "The truth is, Mom, we got comfortable taking advantage of you. You were always there, always helping, always giving. We started expecting it instead of appreciating it. When you said you wanted to come on the cruise, Jennifer worried you'd try to control everything. Tell us what to do with the kids. Criticize her parenting. Did I ever do that?" asked. Tommy thought about it. "No," he admitted. "You didn't. But Jennifer has issues with her own mother, and she was putting that on you. And I let her." "You did more than let her," I said gently but firmly. "You chose her comfort over my feelings. You sent me that message knowing it would hurt me. You chose to hurt me rather than stand up for me." Tommy started crying. Not loud crying. Quiet tears running down his face. "I know," he whispered. "I know I did. And I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry." I felt my own tears coming, but I blinked them away. "Sorry isn't enough, Tommy. Sorry doesn't fix years of being treated like I'm not important." "What can I do?" he asked. "How can I make this right?" "You can't," I said honestly. "You can't go back and undo the hurt. You can't give me back the house money I spent on you. You can't give me back the years I spent making myself small for your convenience. All you can do is be better going forward." Tommy nodded, wiping his eyes. "I want to be better. Jennifer and I are going to counseling. She's beginning to see how we hurt you too. We talked for 2 hours that day. I told Tommy everything I had been feeling for years. All the small hurts that added up. He listened without making excuses. That was new. Before, Tommy always had reasons for why things happened. Now he just listened and said, "You're right. That was wrong of me." When we were getting ready to leave, Tommy asked, "Can I hug you?" I hesitated. Then I nodded. He hugged me carefully like I might break. Or like he might. "I love you, Mom," he said. "I know you do," I replied. "But love isn't just words. Love is actions. Show me you love me by respecting me. By treating me like I matter." "I will," Tommy promised. "I'll spend the rest of my life making this up to you." Over the next few months, things slowly changed. Tommy called me every Sunday, but he didn't expect me to drop everything to answer. He asked before visiting, not just showing up. He invited me to family dinners, but he understood when I said no because I had my own plans. Jennifer wrote me a long letter apologizing. She explained about her difficult relationship with her own mother and how she unfairly compared me to her. It was honest and painful to read. I wrote back saying I appreciated her honesty and that we could start fresh, but it would take time to rebuild trust. She understood. The kids, Emma and Jack, were confused at first. "Why doesn't Grandma come over anymore?" they asked their parents. Tommy explained to them in simple words. Grandma needed time for herself because we didn't treat her nicely. We made her feel like she wasn't important. Now we're learning to be better, and Grandma is doing things that make her happy. I started seeing Emma and Jack every other Saturday. Just me and them. We went to the park. We made cookies together. We read books. But at the end of the day, they went home to their parents, and I went home to my quiet apartment. And that felt right. I loved my grandchildren, but I didn't need to be with them every single day to prove I was a good grandmother. In my painting class, I was getting better. Mrs. Chen said I had a natural talent for color. My pictures were hanging on my apartment walls now. Bright, happy pictures that made me smile. 6 months after selling the house, I ran into Jennifer at the grocery store. We both stopped surprised. "Hi, Margaret," she said nervously. "Hello, Jennifer." We stood there awkwardly for a moment. Then Jennifer said, "Your hair looks nice. Did you cut it?" I had. Shorter and with some highlights. Betty convinced me to try a new style. "Thank you," I said. Jennifer shifted her shopping basket. "I want you to know that Tommy and I are really trying. We're different now. We appreciate things more. We appreciate you more." He nodded. "That's good to hear. The kids miss you," Jennifer added. "They ask about you all the time." "I miss them too," I admitted. "But I like our new arrangement. It's better this way." Jennifer looked like she wanted to say more, but she just nodded. "Well, I should go. Goodbye, Margaret." As I watched her walk away, I felt something surprising. Not anger. Not satisfaction. Just a calm acceptance. Our relationship would never be what it was before. But maybe that was okay. Maybe before wasn't actually good. It was just familiar. That night I video called Betty. "Guess who I saw today?" I told her the whole story. Betty laughed. "Look at you, handling awkward situations like a boss. I'm proud of you, sis." "I'm proud of me too," I said. And I meant it. The old Margaret would have apologized for existing. Would have rushed to make Jennifer comfortable. This new Margaret just existed peacefully, without apology. Felt powerful. My painting teacher, Mrs. Chen, announced that our class would have an art show at the community center. We could each display 3 paintings. I was terrified. What if people thought my art was silly? What if no one liked it? But I chose my 3 favorite paintings anyway. One was of the ocean during my Alaska trip. One was of Betty's garden in Seattle. And one was an abstract piece with lots of colors swirling together, representing how I felt when I finally chose myself. The night of the art show, I wore a new dress. Green with purple flowers. Fancy earrings Betty sent me. Felt beautiful. Tommy, Jennifer, and the kids came to the show. I was surprised to see them. We wanted to support you, Tommy said. Is that okay? It's okay, I said. We walked through the gallery together. Emma held my hand. Grandma, you're a real artist, she said, looking at my ocean painting. Just like on TV. I laughed. Maybe not quite like TV, sweetie. But I'm learning. People stopped to look at my paintings. They said nice things. One woman even asked if she could buy my abstract piece. I was shocked. You want to buy my painting? Yes, she said. It speaks to me. The colors are so full of life and freedom. I sold my first painting that night for $200. $200. I felt like I had won a prize. After the show, we all went for ice cream. Tommy, Jennifer, the kids, and me. We sat outside eating our cones and talking about normal things. School, work, the weather, my paintings. Mom, Tommy said. I know I say this a lot, but thank you. For not giving up on us completely. For giving us a chance to be better. I'm not doing it for you, I said honestly. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it because holding on to anger forever would hurt me more than it would hurt you. Jennifer spoke up. That's very wise, Margaret. Smiled. I'm learning that I can love you all without sacrificing myself. That's the balance I should have had all along. Little Jack, who was only 5, looked up from his chocolate ice cream. Grandma, are you happy now? Out of the mouths of children. Yes, baby, I told him. Grandma is very happy now. 1 year after I sold the house, Betty came to visit me. We celebrated with a fancy dinner at a nice restaurant. To my sister, Betty raised her glass, who finally learned to put herself first. To new beginnings, I added. We clinked glasses. Over dinner, Betty asked, do you ever regret it? Selling the house so suddenly. Thought carefully. I regret that it had to happen that way. I wish Tommy and Jennifer had treated me better from the start. But do I regret my decision? Well, that house represented me giving everything away until I had nothing left. Selling it gave me back my power. You're a different person now, Betty observed. Am I? Yes. Or am I just finally the person I was supposed to be all along? Betty smiled. Maybe both. Maybe we're always growing and changing. The important thing is you're growing toward yourself, not away from yourself. After Betty went back to Seattle, I continued my quiet life. Painting class twice a week. Lunch with new friends from the community center. Saturday visits with Emma and Jack. Sunday phone calls with Tommy. Monthly trips to new places. Small adventures funded by my careful savings. I even started volunteering at the library, reading stories to children. It filled my heart in a way that didn't drain me. On my 69th birthday, Tommy and Jennifer threw me a party. Small, just family and a few friends. They gave me art supplies. Professional ones, not the cheap ones I had been using. We wanted to support your passion, Jennifer said, handing me the beautifully wrapped package. Thank you, I said, genuinely touched. As I looked around the room, I felt grateful. Not for the old days, but for these new days. Days where I was respected. Where my time was valued. Where I had space to be me. Tommy pulled me aside at one point. Mom, I need to tell you something. We're moving. My heart jumped. Moving? Where? To a smaller town about an hour away. Jennifer got a teaching job there. It's a good opportunity for us. Process this. They would be farther away. Less frequent visits with the grandkids. How do you feel about that? Tommy asked carefully. Smiled. I feel happy for you. An hour isn't far. We can still see each other regularly. Tommy looked relieved. I was worried you'd be upset. The old me would have been devastated. Would have felt abandoned all over again. But the new me understood that their life was their life. And my life was my life. I have my own life now, I told Tommy. I have my art and my friends and my adventures. I'll miss seeing the kids every other week, but we'll adjust. You really have changed, Tommy said, shaking his head with wonder. It's like that cruise message woke up a different version of you. It woke up the real me, I corrected. The me that had been sleeping for too long. Tommy hugged me. I'm glad. I like this version of you. I think I like her better than the old version. That's because this version has boundaries, I said. And boundaries make relationships healthier. On the drive home from the party, I thought about everything that had happened. One text message had changed my entire life. If Tommy had never sent that message, would I still be living small? Still giving everything away? Still feeling unimportant? Maybe that cruel message was actually a gift. A painful gift, but a gift nonetheless. Forced me to see the truth. Pushed me to choose myself. It cracked open my old life so a new one could grow through. 2 years after the cruise incident, I received an invitation in the mail. Tommy and Jennifer were renewing their wedding vows. We want to do it right this time, the note said. With everyone who matters there. Especially you. The ceremony was small and sweet. At the backyard of their new house. Emma and Jack stood beside their parents, holding flowers. Betty flew in to be with me. When it came time for Tommy to say his vows, he surprised everyone by turning to me. Before I make my promises to Jennifer, I need to say something to my mother. My breath caught. Mom, you taught me what love was supposed to look like. But somewhere along the way I forgot those lessons. I took your love for granted. I treated it carelessly. 2 years ago you showed me that real love requires respect. That you can't truly love someone you don't value. So today, in front of everyone, I want to promise you something too. I promise to always treat you with the respect you deserve. Tears ran down my face. Tommy came over and hugged me. Thank you for not giving up on me, he whispered. Thank you for forcing me to grow up. The party afterward was joyful. Music played. People danced. Children ran around laughing. I sat at a table with Betty, watching it all. This is nice, Betty said. Look how far everyone has come. It's good, I agreed. Not perfect but good. Jennifer came over to our table. She looked beautiful in her simple white dress. Margaret, can I talk to you for a minute? We walked to a quiet corner of the yard. I want to thank you, Jennifer said. For what? For teaching me that I can't just use people. That message Tommy sent you 2 years ago, I'm the one who told him to send it. It was my idea to exclude you. I had suspected this, but hearing her admit it still stung a little. Jennifer continued, her eyes watery. I was so focused on creating my perfect family that I couldn't see I was destroying relationships in the process. My therapist helped me understand that I was repeating toxic patterns from my own childhood. I was trying to have control over everything, including who counted as family. Why are you telling me this now? Yes. Because I want you to know that what you did, selling the house and leaving, it didn't just hurt us. It woke us up. It made us look at ourselves honestly for the first time. Tommy and I are better people now. Better parents. Better partners. And that's partly because you refused to accept being treated poorly. I didn't know what to say. Jennifer wiped her eyes. I know we can't go back and fix the past. But I hope we can keep building this new future where everyone is valued. Including you. I'd like that, I said softly. We hugged. It wasn't a magical moment where everything was perfect. There was still awkwardness, still healing to be done. But it was a step forward. Later, as the sun set and fairy lights twinkled in the trees, I danced with Emma and Jack. They giggled as I spun them around. Grandma, you're the best dancer, Emma declared. I learned from the best teacher, I told her. Who? Life, I said. Life taught me that it's never too late to start dancing. The next few years passed peacefully. I continued painting and eventually had a small showing at a local gallery. Tommy and his family visited once a month, and I visited them just as often. We had dinner together, celebrated holidays, supported each other through difficult times. But the difference was balance. I wasn't giving everything anymore. I was sharing my time, my love, my energy, but also keeping enough for myself. On my 71st birthday, I did something special. I took a trip to Italy, all by myself. For 3 weeks, I wandered through old cities, ate amazing food, and painted the beautiful landscapes. Betty wanted to come, but I said no. This one is just for me, I explained. She understood. In Italy, I felt completely free. Nobody knew me there. I wasn't anybody's mother or grandmother. I was just Margaret, a woman painting in cafes and walking through ancient streets. One afternoon in Florence, I sat by a fountain sketching the pigeons. An old Italian man sat beside me. "Bella," he said, looking at my drawing. "Beautiful." We couldn't speak each other's language well, but we shared a pastry and smiled at each other. It was a simple moment, but it filled me with joy. This was what life could be. Simple moments of connection without obligation. Without history. Just human beings being kind to each other. When I returned home, I had a suitcase full of paintings and a heart full of peace. Tommy picked me up from the airport. "How was Italy?" he asked, carrying my bags. "Perfect," I said. "Absolutely perfect." In the car, Tommy told me about their lives. Jack had joined soccer. Emma was learning piano. Jennifer got a promotion. Normal family updates. But he didn't demand anything. Didn't ask me to babysit or help with something. Just shared news like friends do. "I'm proud of you, Mom," Tommy said as we pulled up to my apartment. "Why?" "Because you went to Italy alone. Because you're living your life fully. Because you taught me that parents are people too, not just servants to their children." His words touched me deeply. "Thank you, Tommy. That means everything." My painting teacher, Mrs. Chen, retired the next year. The community center asked me if I wanted to teach the beginner class. Me. "Teacher, you've grown so much as an artist," the director said. "And more importantly, you understand the journey of finding yourself through art. That's what we want to share." Said yes. Teaching that class became one of my greatest joys. I had students of all ages. Young mothers looking for an outlet. Retired men trying something new. Teenagers exploring their creativity. I told them on the first day what Mrs. Chen had told me. Art is not about being perfect. Art is about expressing what's in your heart. Many of my students were like I had been. People who spent their whole lives serving others and forgot to serve themselves. One woman, Linda, reminded me so much of my younger self. She was always apologizing. Always making herself small. Always putting everyone else first. After class one day, I asked her to stay. "Linda, can I tell you a story?" She nodded nervously. I told her everything. About Tommy's text message. About selling the house. About finding myself at 68 years old. About learning that loving others doesn't mean destroying yourself. Linda cried. "That's exactly how I feel," she said. "Like I'm disappearing little by little." "Then stop disappearing," I told her gently. "Start showing up for yourself. It's not selfish. It's necessary." Months later, Linda came to class with a huge smile. "I did it," she announced. "I told my daughter I wouldn't be babysitting 5 days a week anymore. I signed up for a pottery class and joined a book club." She was angry at first, but she's adjusting. The whole class clapped for her. I clapped loudest of all. This was what I wanted to teach. Not just painting, but the courage to claim your own life. Tommy and Jennifer's kids grew up. Emma became a teenager, moody but sweet. Jack became obsessed with basketball. Time moved forward like it always does. But now I wasn't just watching time pass. I was actively living in it. For my 73rd birthday, my painting students surprised me with a party. They had each created a painting of what I meant to them. One painting showed a bird flying out of a cage. Another showed a woman with her arms spread wide under a big sky. Linda's painting showed two paths diverging in a forest, with a woman choosing the less traveled path. "You taught us to choose ourselves," Linda said, presenting the paintings. "Even when it's hard. Even when people don't understand." I cried happy tears that day. Surrounded by these people who saw me, really saw me, not as somebody's mother or grandmother, but as Margaret. A whole person. Teacher. An artist. A woman still growing and learning at 73. That night Tommy called. "Happy birthday, Mom. I heard about the party. I'm glad you have such good friends." "Me too," I said. "Life is rich now, Tommy. fuller than I ever imagined it could be. I'm glad, Tommy said softly. You deserve all the happiness in the world. After we hung up, I looked around my small apartment. Paintings covered every wall. Books stacked on tables. Photos of my travels. A calendar marked with art classes, lunch dates, museum visits. This was my life now. Small but full. Simple but meaningful. I thought back to that day at my rocking chair when I received Tommy's text message. That day felt like a lifetime ago. That Margaret was a different person. Smaller. Quieter. Invisible. This Margaret took up space. Had opinions. Said no when she needed to. Said yes when she wanted to. This Margaret mattered. Not because of what she did for others but because she existed. The next summer, Tommy asked if I wanted to go on a cruise with them. A family cruise, he said. But this time you're absolutely, definitely, completely invited. Actually, you're the guest of honor. Thought about it. The irony wasn't lost on me. Cruise just like the one I was excluded from years ago. I'll think about it, I told him. Later I discussed it with Betty on the phone. Do you want to go? She asked. I don't know, I admitted. Part of me wants to say no just on principle. But another part thinks maybe it would be healing. Full circle, you know. What does your gut tell you? Betty asked. I sat quietly, listening to my inner voice. Something I had learned to do over these years. My gut says yes, I finally answered. Not because I need to prove anything or because I'm desperate for family time, but because I genuinely want to make new memories with them. Better memories. Then go, Betty said. But go as the new Margaret, not the old one. Go with boundaries and self-respect. So I said yes to the cruise. But I had conditions. I'll come, I told Tommy. But I need my own cabin. And I need some days where I do my own thing, not group activities. Tommy agreed immediately. Of course, Mom. Whatever makes you comfortable. The cruise was different than I imagined it would be all those years ago. Yes, we spent time together as a family. We ate dinners together, went swimming, watched the sunset. But I also spent mornings painting on the deck alone. I took a watercolor workshop offered on the ship. I read books in quiet corners. I made friends with other solo travelers. Emma, now 15, joined me for painting one morning. Grandma, can you teach me? She asked. We sat side by side, painting the ocean. You know, Emma said, mixing blue and white. Mom told me what happened years ago. About how they didn't let you come on a cruise and you sold their house. Kept painting, waiting. I think you were brave, Emma continued. It would have been easier to just accept being treated badly. But you didn't. You chose yourself. Out of the mouths of teenagers. Thank you, sweetheart, I said. That means a lot. On the last night of the cruise, Tommy organized a family dinner. Just us. Him, Jennifer, Emma, Jack, and me. I want to make a toast, Tommy said, standing up with his glass. 5 years ago, I sent my mother a text message that I'm ashamed of to this day. I told her she wasn't family enough to join us on a cruise. That message broke her heart and changed all our lives. The table was quiet. Tommy's voice shook a little. What I didn't understand then was that Mom had been breaking her own heart for years by making herself invisible for our convenience. My cruel message was just the final crack. Mom, you could have just accepted it. Just swallowed your hurt like you always did. But you didn't. Tommy looked directly at me. You did something radical. You chose yourself. You set boundaries. You demanded respect. And in doing so, you taught me the most important lesson of my life. That love without respect isn't really love at all. Tears rolled down my cheeks. Jennifer spoke up. Margaret, I was the one who pushed for excluding you. That's something I have to live with. But I want to thank you for not giving up on us completely. For giving us the chance to grow and change. Emma and Jack looked confused by the heavy emotions, but they sensed something important was happening. To Mom, Tommy raised his glass. To Grandma Margaret, the bravest woman I know. Thank you for teaching us how to love better. We clinked glasses. The moment was heavy and light at the same time. Heavy with history. Light with healing. After dinner, I stood on the deck alone, watching the stars reflect on the dark water. I thought about the journey I'd been on. Not just this cruise but the whole journey of the last 5 years. From invisible to visible. From small to full-sized. From serving to living. Tommy came and stood beside me. We didn't speak for a while, just watched the water together. "Are you happy, Mom?" he finally asked. "Yes," I said honestly. "Not every single moment. Life isn't like that. But overall, I'm happy." "Good," Tommy said. "That's all I want for you." We stood in comfortable silence. Mother and son. Flawed people who hurt each other but chose to heal. When we got back from the cruise, life returned to normal. My beautiful, full, independent normal. Teaching my art class. Lunch with friends. Monthly visits with Tommy's family. Weekly calls with Betty. Small trips to new places. At 74 years old, I was living more fully than I had at any other age. One afternoon while teaching my class, a new student raised her hand. "Mrs. Peterson, how did you become so confident?" "I want to be like you when I'm older." Smiled. I wasn't always confident. For most of my life I was scared. Scared of disappointing people. Scared of being alone. Scared of choosing myself. "What changed?" she asked. I thought about my answer carefully. "Pain changed me," I said honestly. Sometimes pain is a teacher. It shows you what you've been accepting that you shouldn't accept. It pushes you to finally choose yourself, even when it's hard. The student nodded thoughtfully. After class, I walked home slowly, enjoying the spring weather. Flowers bloomed in gardens. Children played in yards. Life continued its beautiful, messy cycle. At home, I made tea and sat on my small balcony. I opened my journal, something I started keeping after selling Tommy's house. I wrote, "Today I am grateful. Grateful for the text message that broke my heart because it forced me to wake up. Grateful for the courage to sell that house and choose myself. Grateful for Italy and Alaska and painting and new friends." I continued writing. Grateful for Tommy's growth. For Jennifer's honesty. For Emma and Jack's love. Grateful for Betty's constant support. Grateful for Mrs. Chen who taught me to paint. Grateful for every moment of this beautiful, hard-won life. I closed the journal and sipped my tea. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. Tomorrow I would teach my class. Next week I would have dinner with Tommy's family. Next month Betty was visiting. In 3 months I was going to New Mexico to paint the desert. My calendar was full, but not overwhelming. Full of things I chose. Things that brought me joy. Things that were mine. This was what freedom felt like. Not revenge, though that's how it started. Freedom. Sometimes students or friends asked me if I regretted being so harsh with Tommy and Jennifer. "Selling their house seems extreme," they'd say. I always answered the same way. Maybe it was extreme. But sometimes extreme situations require extreme responses. I don't regret it. That decision gave me back my life. And it was true. I didn't regret it. Not for a single moment. Yes, it hurt people I loved. Yes, it was shocking and painful. But it was necessary. Like surgery. Like cutting away something toxic so healthy tissue can grow. Tommy and Jennifer were better people now. Better parents. More aware. More grateful. And I was fully alive for the first time in decades. How could I regret that? On my 75th birthday, I did something special. I organized my first solo art show. Not at the community center. At a real gallery downtown. I invited everyone important to me. Betty flew in. Tommy and his family came. My art students. My friends. The gallery was packed. 50 paintings covered the walls. Paintings of my travels. Abstract pieces about emotions. Portraits of people I loved. Landscapes of places I'd been. The gallery owner gave a speech. Margaret Peterson started painting at 68 years old. She proves it's never too late to discover your passion. Her work is honest, vibrant, and full of life. Just like Margaret herself. People clapped. Felt proud. Genuinely proud of myself. Something I rarely felt in my old life. Tommy bought one of my paintings. The one I called Freedom. It showed a woman standing on a cliff with her arms wide open, facing a huge sky. "I want to hang this in our living room," Tommy said. "So I never forget the lesson you taught me." Several other paintings sold that night too. At 75, I was a working artist. Not famous, not rich, but working, creating, contributing, being seen. After everyone left, I stood alone in the gallery looking at my paintings. Each one told a story. Stories of pain and healing, of courage and growth, of ending and beginning. The gallery owner approached me. "Margaret, that was a wonderful show. Would you be interested in teaching a workshop here next month?" "I'd love to," I said. Life kept unfolding, kept surprising me, kept offering new opportunities. All because I finally said no to being invisible. All because one cruel text message woke me up. Sometimes the worst things that happen to us become doorways to the best things. That text message was my doorway. Walking through it was terrifying. But on the other side was a life I never imagined possible. A life where I mattered, where I was seen, where I was whole. Now, as I approach my 76th birthday, I can honestly say I have no regrets. My relationship with Tommy is healthier than it's ever been. My grandchildren respect me. I have my own life, my own friends, my own passions. And most importantly, I have myself. The woman who sat in that rocking chair 5 years ago reading that terrible text message feels like a stranger now. I barely recognize her. That woman was so small, so afraid, so willing to disappear. This woman takes up space, says what she thinks, chooses herself without guilt. This woman paints and travels and teaches and laughs. This woman is fully alive. And it all started with the worst message I ever received. Plans changed. "You're not coming on the cruise. It's for family only." Those words broke me open. And through that breaking I found myself. So if you're reading this or hearing this story, and you're feeling invisible in your own life, let me tell you something important. It's never too late to choose yourself. Never too late to set boundaries. Never too late to demand respect. Never too late to start living instead of just existing. Might be scary. People might be angry. Things might fall apart temporarily. But on the other side of that fear is freedom. Real, beautiful, terrifying freedom. You deserve to take up space. You deserve to matter. You deserve to be seen. Not someday. Not when you've earned it. Right now. Exactly as you are. Thank you for listening to my story. This is Margaret Peterson, reminding you that family isn't just the people you're related to. Family is the people who treat you like you matter. And the most important family member you have is yourself. Don't abandon yourself trying to keep others happy. Don't make yourself invisible trying to fit into spaces that don't value you. Don't wait for permission to live your own life. Choose yourself. It's not selfish. It's survival. If my story helps even one person find the courage to set boundaries and choose themselves, then sharing it was worth it. Remember, it's never too late to start over. Never too late to paint your first picture. Never too late to take your first trip alone. Never too late to say no. Never too late to demand better. I did it at 68. You can do it at any age. Life is waiting for you. Your real life. The one where you matter. Go find it. Thank you for watching Granny's Voice. Please subscribe and share this story if it touched your heart. Until next time, choose yourself. And one more thing before I go. People often ask me what I would say to my younger self. If I could go back and talk to 20-year-old Margaret or 30-year-old Margaret or 50-year-old Margaret, what would I say? I'd tell her this. Your kindness is beautiful, but don't let people mistake it for weakness. Your generosity is admirable, but don't give so much that you have nothing left. Your love is powerful, but don't pour it all out for others while leaving your own cup empty. You are enough, just as you are. You don't need to earn love by disappearing. You don't need to prove your worth by sacrificing everything. Stand tall. Take up space. Your voice matters. Your needs matter. You matter. That's what I'd tell her. But I can't go back and tell young Margaret those things. So instead I'm telling you, Whoever you are, whatever age you are, wherever you are in your journey, you matter. Your life is yours to live. Not everyone will understand when you finally choose yourself. Some people will be angry. They liked you better when you were small and convenient. Let them be angry. Their discomfort with your growth is not your problem to fix. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotions about your boundaries. You are responsible for living your one precious life fully and authentically. That's what I learned from selling that house and disappearing to find myself. That's the gift that terrible text message gave me. So here's my final message to you. If someone in your life treats you like you don't matter, believe them. Believe their actions, not their words. And then make a choice. Either accept being invisible or choose yourself. I chose myself at 68 years old. It's the best decision I ever made. You can choose yourself too. Right now. Today. This moment. Your life is waiting. Go live it. This is Granny's voice signing off. Remember, you're never too old, it's never too late, and you're never alone. Somewhere in the world, there's a 75-year-old woman painting in her small apartment, living her best life, cheering you on. That woman is me. And I believe in you. Choose yourself. Thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.